Oh, so like, good evening, friends. Vineet Pandey this side, and before I start my lecture, I'll be saying sorry for the last date when I was promising you to go for a live lecture because having a small town and to go live on YouTube is you especially need a great internet connection, which is easily available in Delhi but not in small town. And because it's raining also, like the maximum places of North India, they are facing rain, and this was the reason like internet was very actually busy also for India Pakistan matches going on. Everybody was using and watching those things, so I was not able to go live. Now here, as we already have a plan to talk about the literary theory, in the last lecture we have discussed traditional criticism, empiricism, and what is the need of going for individual study, individual impression. What happens when you go to eat something from a some street shop? You say that this sweet from this shop is really good. Sometimes, suppose we say that in my place there is somebody who is very much famous for jalebi, but I like the jalebi. I say it is famous, and maybe like 100 like us, they say the same thing. But is it sure that everyone, like 700 billion people, will say the same thing? No. They will have their different approach. They will say, no, my jalebi wala is much better. In short, every individual has an approach, and every individual comes from a community, idea sharing community, a background where he has his thought process. So this was the reason that people, they started going in depth of theories. Sometimes students question that what is the need of literary theory when we already have literary criticism. Literary criticism were not the hard and fast rules. I'm repeating again. Literary criticism were actually the ideologies, guidelines that you should write like this. You must follow these points. You must maintain these things. But theory is actually scientifically proved, and yes, it is applicable in certain cases. There are a lot of exceptions in literary theories also. You cannot apply all the theories on each and every one. But yes, if we compare it to literary criticism, literary theories are much better, sharper, and accurate. For example, Karl Marx, he himself said that all I know is I'm not a Marxist. So we are studying Marxism because of Karl Marx, and he himself is saying that all I know is I'm not a Marxist. So this is how the theories, they have some drawbacks. He has propounded a theory, but he says that I do not come in the category of those things. Now, what you have to remember, as per the promise, we're going to discuss new criticism. So all my students who have pen and paper and are going to make notes, I'll lower my speed, I'll slow it so that you'll be able to write certain points. First thing, new criticism, it started in 1920s in England as formalist criticism. Repeating again, as formalist criticism, like I.R. Richards, his efforts, and then it primarily got the momentum in America in 1941, or we can say 1940s. So technically, in 1920s, people started experimenting, but all of a sudden, it got a strong momentum in 1940s, and that is in America. New criticism simply asserts the idea that once the book has been written, once the book has been published, a writer has no more relation with the book. So generally, when you go to buy a book from the market shop, or you go to get the books, how do you buy a book? I can see a lot of hello and hi. So all of you can type your answers here. Have you ever in your life purchased a book without knowing the name of the writer, knowing the name of the cover, knowing the name of the title of the book? Abhi aisa hua hai. Have you ever done the same purchasing without knowing the writer, without having any cover page idea, without having any title? Even if you are at a railway station, you do not know the writer. What attracts you is the glossy cover page or the title. For example, the people, those who write these kind of books, 1,000 Ways of Being Super Rich, Ambani banne ke 2000 tarike. So these are the books like we purchase and we buy. I'm sorry, पढ़ाते पढ़ाते थोड़ा comfortable होके बैठ रहा हूँ अच्छे से बात करने के लिए, थोड़ा टीचर वाला स्टाइल है. So concept is that they have attractive titles, so you buy the book. But when you buy the book, you are actually buying and going to read it. Means you have not read the book. If you have not read the book, how can you buy the book? So that you can read it. So there is some phenomena in your mind which is prepared. So you wanted to read kind of spy fiction. You wanted to read a detective novel. So you went to the book and you found some title, Khazane ki Khoj, in searching some, a treasure or hunting something like that. So you went through the title, you created that phenomena in your mind that yes, this book has something like that, and you purchased the book. You may find this thing related to reader response theory also, because these titles, they actually give you a thought process. But once the book has been written, writer is not important. You do not take the phone number of the writer from the bookshop saying that I want to talk. No, you just take the book. All you can do is any effort, anything, but that with the book only. You cannot do anything else related to the writer. And moreover, the writer cannot do anything else related to the book. Once the book is printed and published, you cannot do anything. In 1910 and 1920s and 30s, there was a famous writer, Edward Albee. Knowing that Virginia Woolf was very famous, Virginia Woolf was being talked about, Virginia Woolf was being discussed. She wrote a famous work, and he wrote a famous work, and the famous work was "Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf?" And it was the time of change, like the high modernism. Everybody was thinking himself as a scholar. People were like, "Oh my God, who is afraid of Virginia Woolf? Let's go and buy the book." They all purchased the book because of the title, and then found that Virginia Woolf is not a character. Virginia Woolf is not important there. Virginia Woolf has a just symbolic reference, nothing else. But the title made them buy the book. Same writer, when he got overwhelmed with the success of his book selling and realizing that people buy anything for the sake of title, he wrote another book, Who is Sylvia? And just like Virginia Woolf, Sylvia Plath also had a great, great fan following. People thought that at least this book must be dealing with Sylvia Plath. And again, they purchased the books and found that in the book, Sylvia is a goat, ek bakri hai, a she-goat. Why she played with the title? Why this writer played with the title? Knowing that the readers have no idea about the book, they'll just get attracted. Now, every reader has a different perception. New criticism, this theory reads the relation between the book and the reader. How? Because once the writer is not related, remember this thing, Roland Barthes has written a famous work, Death of the Author. He's saying the same thing. Roland Barthes, one of the famous person related to structuralism, talks about the same thing, that the writer is no more. Book is autonomous. Text is autonomous. For example, I'll take a book in reference. I have a book, you won't be able to see the name, I'll read it for you. Brick Lane. It's by Monica Ali, one of the famous writers. There are 2 questions in NET exam asked from same writer. Suppose I have this book, but reading the title, knowing the name, Bangladeshi writer or Granta magazine top 3rd writer, I cannot understand the content. Why? Because I'm carried away with this thing. This is covering my mind. It should happen like this. We must avoid this cover. We must avoid the last cover. And then it will be like just a book. Just a book. From this page to that page. Now, you have no cover, no idea, no thoughts, no preconceived notions. Will you be able to read it? No. You cannot apply your knowledge. You will have to go through every page, every line to understand it. That's the concept. That writer is not important. Anything which is not related to the book, like inside of the book, any extraneous affair, any outside thing is not related to the book. You must read the book as the book. For example, if you go to buy a book, like, okay, I'll make it very easy for you all. We all have attempted NET exams. We all have attempted post-graduation wale exams. We have given PG exams. In most of the universities, in PG exams, there was a system of writing the comprehensive answers, explanations. We were given 4 to 5 lines. And teachers, they wanted us to write down those lines to explain it. Sometimes in the exam, when you didn't know about the lines that the lines have been taken from, how did you elaborate? I can see many of you saying it's buffering too much. It's not that, or somebody has started abusing again. It's fine. तो ऐसा करते हैं जो अब्यूज कर रहे हैं लिखते रहो सर, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कुछ से फर्क नहीं पड़ता. जिस दिन मेरे जितने डिग्री ले लो उस दिन बोलना. अच्छा, तो मैं क्या कह रहा था कि अभी इंटरनेट अगर बफरिंग हो रही है, इफ यू फाइंड दिस ट्रबलिंग, देन ट्रस्ट मी, आफ्टर दिस लाइव सेशन इट विल बी अपलोडेड, यू कैन सी अगेन. राइट नाउ, what I was talking about, that when you attempted post-graduation exams and you found those lines, these lines you were supposed to explain, but suppose you don't know those lines in the exam, then we would ask our friends, like sometimes, talking in the examination hall and going for those whispering voice, please tell me the name of the writer. Tell me the name of the writer. How can you explain the piece of work which is written in front of you in 5 lines in unseen paragraph? Why are you looking for a writer when the unseen paragraph or the poetry is in front of you? Because instead of reading it, you just want to understand the pattern, the psychology. So one of your friends said, friend, this is written by Wordsworth. And you were like, thank you so much. And then you started narrating it. You were like, this is Wordsworth. Wordsworth is the father of nature poetry. Wordsworth is a devotee. Wordsworth says that nature has molded my character. Wordsworth was very much influential in French romantic writings, French influences and all. And then your friend said, wait. I'm sorry. It is not by Wordsworth. It is by T.S. Eliot. And you're like, okay. You just cut those things and you restarted writing the same lines again. T.S. Eliot is primarily a postmodern or modern writer. He has certain tendencies, techniques. T.S. Eliot is somebody who is obscure. It is not easy to understand. T.S. Eliot has clarity of expression, this and that. In short, in both cases, you didn't read the text in front of you. You just went for the names of those writers. But a smart study and the accurate study is read whatever is in front of you without taking it in any reference of any writer. That's what New Criticism says. So the reason why do we need this? First thing, if you read a text or you relate that text with writer's personal life, some incidents, age, mindset of people, social events, historical events, if you just relate it to these things, you won't be able to understand those texts in a better way. You won't be able to get the exact meaning. For example, if I ask you to write a line right now, bliss was it in that dawn to be alive. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive. To be young was very happy. If I ask you that, please explain this line. And I do not tell you that this line is by Wordsworth. This line is actually related to French Revolution. It's speaking about 1789's revolution. You will not be able to explain the content, the message of the line. But whatever you will do will be the actual meaning, because you are the fresh reader reading it in a fresh scenario with a particular attitude, and you will go for the meaning. So bliss was it in that dawn to be alive can be applied for moderns also in your perception. But at least this will not be biased. And the exception is people, they believe that in traditional criticism, if you want to read the same line, you have a relation with French Revolution, you can better understand. But theories, they say that instead of understanding, we want to go for the real meaning of the text. And this was the reason that I.A. Richards, who is famously known for plurality of meanings, has studied this. He assigned his students to go for reading poetries. Remember this thing, that New Criticism experiment was done in poetry first. He asked his students to get some poetry pieces and write the explanation without reference of any writer and any age or any genre. When the students came with the explanation, he was surprised and astonished to see that. This is the reason that concept of New Criticism got developed. Now, what you have to remember is that in America, John Crow Ransom, J.C. Ransom, he has famously written a work called New Criticism 1941. And here they talk about a piece of work which is autonomous and is far away from any reference or any outer reference which could hamper the understanding of the book or the text. Now, what happens here, you have to remember a few points. The British critic who was actually studying the formalist criticism, because new criticism is formalist criticism. It's the part of that. These people, Wimsatt, Beardsley, then famous writer T.S. Eliot. A lot of people don't know that T.S. Eliot himself is related to practical criticism. He called new criticism lemon squeezing. Then we have David Deutsch. Then Empson, William Empson, 7 Types of Ambiguity. These people, the Britishers, they are called new critics. Then we have Ellen Tate. Then we have J.C. Ransom, Rene Wellek, and many others like R.P. Warren and all. These people are the Americans. What you have to remember is the writers of Britain dealing with practical criticism or new criticism are called new critics. And the writers who are dealing with new criticism from America have certain names. Number one, they are the writers of new criticism. I'm repeating the names again. Here we have R.P. Warren, Alan Tate, Clint Brooks, J.C. Ransom. These writers are also called Vanderbilt University scholars. You may get a question in net exam that pick the one who is not a scholar from Vanderbilt University. Then these writers are also called Southern agrarians. These writers, they belong to a group called Southern agrarians. And the third thing, these writers are also called Chicago critics. So make sure you remember these names. Now, why do we need this thing? So here we have certain concept. When you read a text, you have no writer. What you have to do is closely examine the text in the book, relate it with certain referential meanings. William Empson says that when you read something, the reading process itself has certain assertions. Sometimes it denies the meaning, sometimes it mutually qualifies the meaning, and sometimes they have issues. The meaning itself goes contrary. For example, when you read religious books, I'm giving you the easy message. When you read religious books or philosophical books, they have their issues. What happens? These things. In a religious book, God says that I have created everything. I am the one who is responsible for anything. I am the one who is killing. I am the one who is being killed. If we go for Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, shlok 19, I have not read Bhagavad Gita. I have read R.W. Emerson's famous work, Brahma. R.W. Emerson, American writer, famous work, Brahma, is translation of chapter 2, shlok 19. He says that if the red slayer thinks he is slain, and the slain thinks he is being slain, they know not me. It is me. I am Brahma. Means I am God. So religious books are saying that everything is happening because I want it. Then the same books, they say you should not do this. You should not fight. You should not kill. Then who is you here? Means this is how they have contradictory statements. So Empson is of the view. Sometimes they have double metaphor. Sometimes in a statement they have double negatives. So in short, Empson or I. Richards or other writers are of the view that focus on the content, focus on the text, and go for various point of views to study that. And if we go for traditional formula, traditional criticism, something will happen which is called intentional fallacy. What is intentional fallacy? A term which is coined by Wimsatt and Beardsley in a famous work, Verbal Icon 1954. Wimsatt and Beardsley, they talk about intentional fallacy, which is when a writer is conveying a message, but the reader doesn't receive the message as it is. Means writer conveyed something, but the reader, he didn't get it in a proper way. That is intentional fallacy, intention. There was a question in net exam, who has coined the term tension? Tension in literary theory. So Alan Tate coined the term tension. And Alan Tate talks about the same thing in the famous work, Miss Emily and her Bibliographers. He talks about intention, extension. So in and X, but the tension is common. That is tension theory. I'll just come back to the same thing. Talking about intentional fallacy. Wimsatt, Beardsley were of the view that when a writer conveys something, what is important is the conveyed message. So this is writer, he conveyed this message. This is message. This is writer. This is message. A reader should focus on the message, not on the writer, or should not focus on the message in relation with the writer. If you do this, intentional fallacy will take place. Message, if, chalo, I'll make it easy. ये जो बेचारा क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है, इसको बड़ा अफसोस होने वाला है, क्योंकि इससे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, बोलते जाओ. लेकिन अगर आप हिंदुस्तानी हो तो सोचना कि शीशे में बैठ के कि क्या मैं पढ़ा सकता हूँ सब, नहीं तो लिखते रहो यार, वैसे भी फैन फॉलोअर्स और क्रिटिक भी तो मेरे लिए टाइम निकल रहे हैं। अब देख सकते हो जिस तरीके से हैरेस कर रहे हैं। सो मजे वाली बात यह है कि व्हाट आई वाज टेलिंग यू, सी दिस इज हाउ दे आर ट्राइंग टू डाइवर्ट, बट दिस इज विनीत पांडे. सो व्हाट हैपेंस हियर, आपने, I asked you all that Vineet Pandey is going to reveal the secret of qualifying UGC NET. और आपको एक एडवर्टाइज हो गया, you got a message that Vineet Pandey is going to tell you the exclusive thing about NET. A lot of people are ready to listen. Why? Because they have not heard the message, conveyed message. They don't know what I'm going to tell. All they know is that Vineet Pandey has 6-time NET, has worked in University of Delhi, has double JRF, only Indian to have double JRF in English literature with general category, 15 plus set, and is attempting more, going for West Bengal set soon. If he is saying something, it will be serious. It will be really serious, damn serious. You are not going to the message. You are going to the name, identity of the writer, the person who is going to convey. And you came online and you're waiting that now Vineet Pandey will say something which will be very exclusive. And I said, friends, to qualify NET, it's just one rule. Give your best, study hard, and do not miss any chapter. And the message closed. You'll be like, oh my God, but we expected a lot from him. We actually expected something secret. So you are not understanding the message. You are relating to the name. That is intentional fallacy. You are the listener. I am the one who conveyed. But instead of going for the conveyed message, you are relating it to the person. In the second scene, someone else comes to you and says that I am also going to reveal a secret of NET. And now you say, okay, but who are you? He said, I attempted NET for 30, 40 times. I could not qualify even a single time. And I am going to tell you the secret. How many of you are actually going to listen to somebody who himself has never qualified? I think 90% will say no. But again, you didn't go to the message. What did you do? You went for the writer's individual identity. And this is how. Maybe he's actually telling you the secret. Maybe he knows, like getting failed, he knows the actual thing. But we are not listening. So being a listener or the reader, writer's conveyed message doesn't reach to the reader. That is intentional fallacy. One-to-one. Now, this one-to-one concept, as we know that writer is one, text is one, writer is one, book is one. But reader, there are many, many and many diversities. So, message here is that all these people, when they write for millions, and there are a lot of readers. So, every writer, when he writes a book or a message, there are many readers to understand it, to read it from various point of views. And when they read the message, they relate to writer's life, identity, biography, personal issues. And it's not only the writer. Writer's age, mindset, gender, genre, everything. All these readers will take the message in relation with writer's identity and various other things and will go for various intentional fallacies. All these intentional fallacies together are called affective fallacy. For example, when a teacher is teaching in a classroom and he says that start valuing the time. Time is the great leveler. Do not waste your time. 40 students in the classroom will understand the same thing from 40 different point of views. Somebody will say, wow, he's absolutely right. Somebody will say, he keeps on repeating the same thing again and again. He himself has wasted his time, his life. Somebody will say, the same lecture we get from our father, it's actually a waste of time. Somebody will say, he is right, but he should add few more points. Somebody will say, he could elaborate in a better way. But instead of going for writer's one identity, you're going for various other things. And message is understood from various point of views. That simply means that is affective fallacy. There is a French concept applied to this thing, and T.S. Eliot also called it lemon squeezing. He says that when you are just left with the text, for example, we have this newspaper. So we take this as a text. This is the text. No writer, no identity, nothing. So what can you do? You can just use this text in all possible ways to get the meaning. So how are you going to get the meaning? Meaning lies in the text. But is it that easy to get the meaning? No, it doesn't look clearly. Means literary texts, they always have hidden meanings, allegorical meanings, symbolical meanings. So when T.S. Eliot says this is lemon squeezing, what happens when you squeeze a lemon? When you have a lemon, you squeeze it. You find the essence of it, the drops of that essence. So how did we get that drop? Where was it? It was in the lemon. But could we see that directly? No. But we knew that it has something. So when you squeezed it, you got the essence. This is the text. Squeeze it, but not like this. By going to apply various theories to understand a text to get the exact meaning of the text. That is called lemon squeezing, close reading, and explication de-texting. Explication de-texting. Along with these things, coming back to the same term which has been asked in NET and Uttarakhand said, Ellen Tate's tension concept of tension. Ellen Tate says that when writer has to convey a message, his message is the tension. But to convey a message, writer always has to choose a medium, a way of conveying. When I am talking to you all on a live video, I have chosen particular set of language coded words, which is also known as register if we go for teaching English and linguistics. Here, what I'm doing is actually those set of the language, the coded language, that is in, and the meaning is tension. So my intention is to convey meaning. My meaning is tension, and the way I'm conveying it, it's intention. But when the meaning reaches to the reader, now reader has to understand the meaning, tension. But reader, to understand that meaning, he will use his creative skills, learning powers, the capabilities of learning. A learner, he has a capability of learning that totally, heavily depends upon his background. So this learner will try to understand the meaning from his point of view. That is called extension. Intention, how writer conveys. Extension, how reader understands it. But in both intention, extension, what remains is tension. Tension is meaning. Friends, how many of you know the meaning which is actually applicable? For example, we already have discussed this in the last video lecture. I. Richard says that every word has a narrated meaning. You cannot write anything in just one word. How many of you can tell me what is day? Dar. What is this day? Day kya hota hai? If anyone could explain the word in day, just one word. So you say day, din, but that is not meaning. Day ka din is Hindi. Meaning is, you will say that when we get up, there are people that get up in the night also. You will say we go to the work. There are people, those who work hard, they go to the works in midnight. Our border security forces, they do not sleep. What is the actual meaning of day? So there is no meaning of day. It is having a social meaning. Means to understand day. Or we say good day. Why don't we say that good night? So when we say good night, there is the darkness scene, evening scene. When we say good day, it's day left. But message good day is that you do a lot of happening things. Day has structural meaning, sociological structural meaning, sociological approach. Means to understand the day, you will have to go for various narrations. It is used for daily jobs, daily routines, works. It has light. Light means knowledge, learning, various things. Means every word is not a free word or having free meaning. It gives you meaning in relation of something. If the word is not used in relation of something, it will never give you meaning. What will be the meaning of darkness if you do not have day? So the meaning of darkness will be if there is daylight. If there is no light, there is no meaning of darkness. If there is no happiness, there will be no meaning of sadness. If there is no sadness, there will be no meaning of happiness. So this is how you have to understand few points. Repeating again, you got to know about new critics. You got to know about the writers of new criticism. You also understood their various names. Then we have discussed Wimsatt and Beardsley and their terminologies. We have talked about T.S. Eliot's lemon squeezing. We have also discussed explication de-texting. And along with these things, we have gone for Alan Tate's Miss Emily and his bibliographers along with the term tension. Now, this will be enough for today. Thank you so much for being live. And somebody जो यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम पास कर रहे हैं इन्हें समझना चाहिए कि सच में फंस जाओगे। एनीवे, चलो, थैंक यू सो मच, टेक केयर, बाय बाय, गुड नाइट।